What is up, Nickel City Mafia? Huge win by the Buffalo Bills. Sean, Madden football's here, man. These numbers that these teams have been putting up the last 2 weeks, the Bills in particular, it feels like Madden football. It really does. But talk to me about Josh Allen once again having a fantastic day. But it but he can't do any of that without that O line. And again, that O line looked pretty dominant. So talk to us about what you saw from that offensive side of things.
Yeah, I mean, the last few weeks, the offense has just been firing on all cylinders, running the football. I mean, last week you saw we didn't run much because we were down most of the game, and the defense couldn't make a stop, so we had to go on quick drives because we would have, lost the game because we didn't have enough time. Well, we lost anyway. But today we were able to control the clock because we were up, and then we were able to run the football, pass the football. Really, we were dicing them up any way possible, throwing it to running backs, throwing it to tight ends, receivers. Just an all around great offensive game. And like you said, can't be done without the big man up front. Run blocking was outstanding. Pass blocking was another elite performance. And on a lot of those big runs, Spencer Brown, Deion Dawkins pulling, and then just the interior line play was fantastic too. And obviously they're not the best D line in the league, but their pressure rate has gone up since Hutchinson's been gone. And just another no sack game. The pressures are probably super low. I'd probably say between 5 and 6 this week, and just another fantastic performance. Josh had all day to throw the football, and then when you have all day to throw the football, it gives everybody an opportunity to get open. And 40 points twice in a row. Josh knew, the offense knew we had to put up points, and they did. And should have had 5 touchdowns total for Josh with that incredible chest pass that he had. That was not a holding, but of course, another awesome play called back. But regardless, even with missing a field goal a short field goal, still put up 48 points. So outstanding performance.
Yeah. Brett, I mean, they come out of the gate, and Ty Johnson was a focal point of our offense today. Our running back here, he caught 5 passes for 114 yards. And I don't know if they're like, hey, I know Detroit's the team that drafted you. We got something special for you. But I mean, give credit to Brady and McDermott and the whole coaching staff, because this team, we lost a day of practice. I mean, the Lions had 10 days to prepare for us. They were coming off a Thursday night football game 10 days ago. Bills didn't get that much preparation. They got on a Zoom call, I guess, the last day or so. But, dude, they put it together. How incredible was that, Brett?
It was incredible to watch. Number one, from the beginning of the game, you saw the running backs being utilized. And I love the running back by committee that we have, with not only James Cook leading the way, but you're seeing a trickle effect with the running backs. Now the Bills are utilizing different guys, with James Cook leading the way and pretty much getting the runs in the middle of the field. Then you're seeing the passing game work out for Ty Johnson. And now Ray Davis is starting to come on even more too. And I loved what I saw there. At one point, we had 113 yards from running backs to 1 yard from receivers or other players, which is an incredible stat to see. I've never seen that before in the history of watching football. And then on the other side of things, with Sean McDermott and what he did to get this team ready to go with 3 defensive players being out, 3 starters. You had Rasul Douglas, Taylor Rapp, I couldn't even think of his name. I want to say Taron Johnson, and Damar Hamlin all being out. And then on top of that, Cole Bishop comes out of the game with cramps, having a old veteran in there, and I call him Old Yeller now, in Kareem Jackson come into the game and make plays, make stops. That's incredible to watch for me. And hats off to Bobby Babich for, after a bad week, coming into things and just getting the defense back together, even though we gave up 42 points, which was a lot of it because of, number one, we were just running a zone scheme, just a bend, don't break type style of defense to give up 42 points. But this defense was lights out, and Matt Milano being in there as well was a big key, even though he did get injured too.
And real quick, Mike, before just go back to the offense again for a sec. In the last 3 games, Josh Allen's got 14 total touchdowns in 3 games and no turnovers. So that's how you pick it up at the end of the season. And we probably should have won all 3 of those games, but that's just goes to show how in sync they all are together and how locked in they are, and it's really incredible.
Yeah, Sean, I agree with you. I was gonna throw it right back to you because Brett's given Babbage a lot of credit there, and they did. They came out of the gates. They made some early stops, but I don't know, Sean. You might want to talk to him about his prevent defense because I'll tell you what. I've never seen a game like that where the Bills had such a big lead where I was sweating it down to that onside kick, and Taron Johnson. I think he did not get it cleanly. And for a second there, as Bills fans, we saw some horrible things that have happened to us over the years. I'm
Yeah.
thinking to myself, oh my God, are they going to get it at the 50-yard line and we're going to see a Hail Mary coming up? But that didn't happen. But I mean, prevent defense, we were letting them go down the field a little bit too quickly. Sean,
Yeah.
do you chalk that up just because of injuries in that secondary or just, I mean, obviously they have a great offense. They have a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, St. Brown, by the way, I had him on my fantasy team. He's propelled me
Mhm.
to a championship, not a championship, but I'm going to the championship game. 14 receptions for 193 yards, 6 touchdowns. Sam Laporta came in with 7 for 111. By the way, Jared Goff put up 494 passing yards. But
Mhm.
all for naught, just like Josh Allen's great performance, all for naught last
All
week.
for
But
naught.
yeah,
Yep.
the prevent defense that worries me a little bit. What you think about that?
Well, in this situation, we were up 17 points, and really, the goal was to just try to get them to waste time. So you want to give them the ball in front of you, make the tackles, and unfortunately, they were able to score quick. But up until that point, I mean, it's because of the defense that we were able to get up to a 14-0 lead. They started the game off with 2, 3 and outs and just playing great defense, and then we were able to take a lead and then not look back. And again, like Brett mentioned, you're missing 3 starters in the secondary. Then Matt Milano goes down, then Cole Bishop goes down, and everyone stepped up. Even Kareem Jackson, he had a couple really good hits, and Christian Bedford forces a fumble. And I know Amon-Ra St. Brown had an amazing game, but that fumble was a big part of why we ended up winning. And the offense rewarded the defense by getting a touchdown after they forced a turnover. And, I'm with Brett too. Obviously, giving up 42 points is really, it kind of stinks. But if you look at it, we gave up 21 points, up 17 points. We were just trying to play, wasting clock out. It didn't work out in that favor because they kept scoring. But it just felt they were a million times better than last week. We were dominating the trenches on both sides, but I was really, really surprised that we were getting so much pressure, not just with Ed Oliver, but the entire defensive line was just controlling the line of scrimmage the entire day against a top. They're ranked second, but the best offensive line in the league. Oliver alone had over 10 pressures by himself, and that's just one guy. So this defensive line really took it personal that they got beat up last week, and the entire defense. All of them were playing with their hair on fire. Taron Johnson was laying people out. Benford was just continuing to play well. So I got to give a lot of credit to Babbage and McDermott. I know the points people are going to bring up tomorrow, like that, are Bills detractors. Oh, but they gave up 42 points. We got to be concerned. There's no Lions in the AFC. So I don't. Even the Ravens are great, but they can't score like like the Lions can. They don't have the firepower that they do. So I'm not really concerned because I knew we were going to give up points, and I just think the way we finished the game with the prevent and letting them take what's in front of you, it's just part of the game, and that's why I don't like it when we're up by less than 1 score and it's 4th and 10 and they back everybody up to prevent and then they get the yardage they need. But in this game where you're up 17, I was fine with it.
Yeah, Brett. I mean, I thought for sure they were just going to run the ball down our throats today. I really did, right? They got the 2-headed monster over there. They got Gibbs and Montgomery. And what's the fancy name they came up with that? Sonic and what's the other name they've given the other running back? You're on mute, by the way. So make sure before you start talking. You guys remember they call him Sonic and what is it?
Knuckles.
Knuckles.
I always thought that was lame, but I didn't want to sound like a hater.
Sonic and Knuckles got shut down. They only ran the ball for 48 yards in total, averaged 3.2 yards. Montgomery was like 5 carries for 4 yards. Gibbs, I mean, Gibbs is he's got some wheels. 8 for 31. He did score a touchdown. But dude, shutting down that run was huge for us, right?
Yeah, he did
Absolutely.
good in the receiving game, but at the end of the day, we made them one dimensional,
Yep.
and they had to go to screens to try to get something going because we just were stifling them all over the place. So making Goff uncomfortable, playing great coverage, it kind of makes you angry because it's like you shouldn't have lost to the Rams, and
Yeah.
it's just they just had out of body experience. They have great talent over there, and they played a perfect football game, and we lost. But the Lions are a better offense, you'd say, right? They have a better O-line, better weapons, better quarterback, and we stopped them multiple times and in Detroit. So again, credit to them. Everybody stepped up. Even again, Kyer Elam, he had some good plays, and then he's involved in the on that fumble. He kind of pushed the guy over. It gave Matt Milano a time to get to the football and recover it. He was making tackles. He's hitting hard, and I know he gave up some plays, but his job, well, all their jobs really is to don't give up the big explosive play, keep it in front of you. And he gave up a couple catches, but I think he played well again. And again, glad to see him go out there, maybe low confidence because he's getting inactive every week. Goes out there, starts, makes some good plays, and this defense. I was really proud of him. I know it's hard to say with 42 points, but I think if people watch the game and don't just look at the box score, I know you see, oh, Goff 500 passing yards, blah blah blah. But if you watch the game in totality up until that last fourth quarter, I thought they played outstanding and they gave us our offense the ability to win the game.
Yeah.
We knew this was going to be a heavyweight fight, right? We knew this was going to be back and forth, and which team could outscore the other team. I had no doubt this was going to hit the over. I mean, if you're a betting person, easy money today, slam that over. I meant to throw it to you, Brett. I'm sorry, I do this multiple times when you and Sean are on there, and I'm talking to you, and I'm about to throw it to you, and I say Sean's name for some reason. But let me go back to you. First of all, Milano, one of you mentioned that he got injured late in the game, groin injury. That's all we know right now. Don't know how serious it is, but yeah. So injury news there, and then Cole Bishop, you mentioned. He went out. I was concerned, but then they said it was just cramping. I don't know if he returned, but good news there. Nothing too serious. And but let me throw it back to you, Brett, on the defensive strategy to shut down the run, make them one-dimensional. It was fantastic, and let's silence those Ed Oliver people. Those ones. Right. Quiet, please. Brett, over to you.
Well, somebody, in this room has been talking about Ed Oliver for a while now, and he's pretty much silenced him this week, I think. But what a great game, not only from the defensive line, pretty much everybody on that defensive line had a good game. Von Miller, Greg Russo, along with pretty much the entire defensive line, except for, I haven't heard two players' names called on that defensive line, which were Daquan Jones or Austin Johnson. That's the only two that I didn't hear Jim Nantz or Tony Romo talk about. But really good game overall from them. They were getting their involved. But how about coming off of IR and seeing him come off of IR, Dwayne Smoot have a couple of nice plays on a batted ball, even though they say it hit his hand, it really hit it like his wrist area. But just to commit back into the game and be ready to go, and you saw what he can do. He's one of the biggest focal points for this defensive line, and I'm glad to have him on our team. But this defense, like we mentioned, is playing very well. I do want to mention one quick thing real fast. The Lions played a hell of a game overall, and give credit to Dan Campbell and his squad for being able to keep their composure throughout the game, number one, but play all the way until the whistle ends. That's incredible to see there. And I want to also say, my prayers go out to Khalil Dorsey, and with the injury that he has, going to the hospital with a lower leg injury. That was a gruesome hit that you saw there, and it's going to take a long time for him to heal. Hopefully he can come back to football, but it's going to be an uphill battle for him. So I'm praying that things will get better and that he can continue his career, even though he's such a young player that has so much promise to him.
Yeah, I agree. Prayers for him. Absolutely. Sean, we're praising Dan Campbell. I think we all like Dan Campbell. We really respect him and what he's done for that Lions organization. But I got to tell you what, if we lost that game, just like the Lions did, and Sean McDermott kicked that onside kick early in the game, later in the game, late in the game, I felt it was way too early. And what happened. We'd be fired up. We'd be fired up right now. I'm sure there's going to be some Detroit fans there, but what the hell was he thinking? I'm glad he did. Matt Collins, great play.
Yeah.
But dude, what the hell is he thinking? Do you think he made the right play at that point in time?
No, it's before he even kicked it. It was only a 10-point game. There's 12 minutes left. You just scored in, a minute and a half. I figured just kick it away. I know we were cooking them, but at that point, it's late. Because even if we did score again, I mean, we did. Granted, we did score in like 2 seconds, so I guess it wasn't too much. It was better for them in the way because they still had a lot of time to play.
Yeah.
But still, it's give your defense a chance to make one play, and anything could have changed. And I'm glad he did it because it gave us an easy touchdown, gave Josh another touchdown, gave Ray Davis a touchdown reception. So I was cool with that. But as a Detroit fan, I would have been very upset because you still had a lot of time left. It wasn't like it was 2 minutes left in the football game. It was literally the beginning of the fourth quarter. So don't agree with it, but that's who they stick to their guns of believing in all their guys in every phase. And they do have a number one special teams unit. And, having your coach really believe in you like he does, that's what the guys all love. So the players won't get mad at him. I'm sure the fans will, but I'm sure all the players agreed with him to do it just because he has a constant belief in all of them. But hey, I was happy with it, especially because we returned all the way down to the 5 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Real quick, something I forgot to mention with Jake on Wednesday. So we hear about Dan Campbell going for it all the time, almost as if he does go for it all the time, is what I was hearing from the media. Now, I hadn't done much research, but I did some research after that game or after that show with Jake. And I was like, because I kept hearing it. Every media outlet, Dan Campbell's going to go for it all the time, no matter where you are on the field. Well, I did a little bit of research prior to this game. The Lions have converted 15 of 22 fourth downs this season, which is good for 68.2% conversion rate. They're not the top team that has gone for it. It was Cleveland, actually. Now, the Bills, they've gone for it. They've converted, again, prior to this game. I think both teams converted another fourth down today. I think there was a couple other ones late in the game. But the Bills have converted 13 of 15 fourth downs this year for a whopping 86.7% conversion percentage. So, again, I'm thinking to myself, he doesn't go for it all the time. And you saw it today. He actually punted the ball, I think, twice in this game, right? At least twice. Yeah. And then, let's see, what else did I have here? What other number did I have? I think that was kind of it. But again, I was expecting more. I'm like, oh my God, okay, this isn't much different than what the Bills have done. And again, they were only the fourth team as far as aggressiveness going forward on fourth down. So a little surprising there. But back to the game here, Brett. And this time I'll stay with you. Let's go through that offense once again, and then we'll flip to the defense. So I want to go through some numbers here. Josh Allen, he threw for 23 for 34 or 362 yards. He threw 2 touchdowns, had a beautiful passing rating of 122.4, which is fantastic. James Cook, I mean, they tried to tackle him with his hair. How crazy was that? I'm like, oh my God, that had to hurt a little bit. But James Cook, 14 for 105 yards, averaged 7.5 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen, second in rushing with 11 for 68, 6.2, averaged 2 touchdowns. Man, I want him to make history again, right? He could have been that first person to have first quarterback to have 3 rushing touchdowns back-to-back weeks. He had a shot, Brett. We were down there first and goal, and then we blow it with some penalties. But and then lastly, Ray Davis, 7 for 15, and Ty Johnson, 2 for 9. Ty Johnson did most of his damage in the passing game, and we'll get to the receivers here in a second. But again, Josh Allen with that O-line, dude, he's just being smarter with what he does, and they couldn't stop him. They had a spy on him, Brett. They were spying him. Jack Campbell was like, couldn't stay with him, and they were getting burnt in the past, so they had to take Campbell off a little bit later, and I forget who they put on there, but no, they had no answer. Josh Allen, dude, how awesome, how MVP-ish is this man playing this year, just being smarter with the ball, giving them taking what the defense gives you, of course, that O-line. But talk to me about Josh's performance and the rest of the offense and who you want to give some flowers to today.
Well, let's start off with this. I mean, Josh Allen from last year to this year, I think he kind of realized that maybe the image and likeness of him last year got the best of him. And he's kind of laid low this year. He's been in a couple of commercials, but he hasn't been doing all this, the different stuff on the outside world. He's kind of keeping it quiet, hanging out with Haley Steinfeld, getting engaged, and just being happy. And I think he's found his niche. He's comfortable with what he's doing, but the coaching staff has complete trust in him, and you're seeing that play out on the field. You're seeing it not only him be a leader this season without guys like Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis and all these other big names that were controlling the team. And now you're seeing the Bills, be comfortable with a guy that is a MVP front runner, in my opinion. And I think the race is over. To be honest with you, he's put up a ton of yards, not only the yards, but also the amount of just big plays that you're seeing from him in situation. I'm going to say this right now, and forgive me for saying it, but Josh Allen's is somebody that can play reckless, but he has some tough, I'm going to say the word and hopefully we can bleep it out, but we'll say some jingle balls. Okay. He is tough as can be. He's tough as nails, goes down the field and just makes plays left and right with not only his arm, but also his legs. And that dual threat type of player is going to make defenses struggle to find a way to compete against him. And that's what you're seeing now is he's being big in the run game, but he's also getting it done in the passing game. And sometimes he does it as a wide receiver. And it's insane to see. He's a Superman. Dan Campbell said earlier in the week, he is playing his best football later in his career, and he's just playing smarter. That's the one thing that he was struggling with a little bit over the past few seasons was his mindset. And now you're seeing not only his mind work better, but also him play at an all-time great level. And there's nobody in the league, in my opinion, that's playing better than Josh Allen. And you can go around and say that Patrick Mahomes or whoever you want, you can name your names, but I'm telling you right now, the biggest asset to the Buffalo Bills and why they're going to go into a deep run in the playoffs is Josh Allen. And if we didn't have Josh Allen on this team, we would not be even close to a playoff team. We would probably be in the same category as a Carolina or the New York Jets. This team is that good because of Josh Allen, and I'm glad to have him as their quarterback. Yeah,
I mean, kudos to Joe Brady. I mean, that dude dialed it up today again with short preparation. I was just amazed at how easily we were moving the ball down the field. So it's kind of a perfect marriage, Joe Brady and Josh Allen, and what they're doing. And just to finish up the receiving or the receivers on the offense. Ty Johnson, as I said earlier in the show, he was the top receiver, 5 catches for 114. It really felt like he was like, hey, coach, they drafted me. Let me do something special here. Well, he certainly did something special here. 114 yards. Keon Coleman, great to see him back. Josh Allen rolls to the right, goes deep, a rocket, 64-yarder to Coleman, 1 catch for Coleman. Dalton Kincaid, good to see him back. He looked good too. He looked good. He had 4 catches for 53 yards. Dawson Knox, beautiful. I mean, Dawson Knox 2 for 42, and that one catch, dude. Josh Allen has been throwing deep balls, but sometimes when they're too easy, I mean, he just almost overthrew him. Like, no, don't overthrow him here because that was pretty big. You don't want to give the momentum back to him. But Dawson Knox makes a beautiful catch on that one to keep the drive going. Khalil Shakir continues to do it. 6 for 39 yards and 7 targets. He actually caught a touchdown. One of those fantasy football touchdowns that you love if you have Khalil Shakir and Josh Allen. Josh Allen snaps the ball, a little like pitch forward. Khalil takes it in. By the way, guys, I had Josh Allen. I had Khalil Shakir. I had James Cook. And I had St. Brown on my fantasy team today. And again, you can imagine that, I'm moving to the championship now. So Khalil Shakir 6 for 39. Like I said, James Cook 1 for 28. He had a nice catch there. Josh Allen again rolling out, finding James Cook. Ray Davis at 2 for 14. Matt Collins 1 for 7. And Curtis Samuel 1 for 1. And by the way, Matt Collins continues to make plays for this team, whether it's receiving, blocking, and dude, on that special teams play, how special was that? He's big enough. He's like 6'4", able to go high, knock it down himself. I thought he was gone. Just didn't quite have the wheels to get there, but set us up, Sean, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to say this right now, though. Micah Hyde would add the touchdown.
No,
not anymore.
Micah Hyde's too short. He probably wouldn't have been able to touch the ball because he had to go up high. Matt Collins, showing his basketball skills going up high with that. But yeah, so let's flip over to the defense real quick and wrap things up and get out of here in a timely fashion so we can go celebrate. I mean, it's early. Let's go celebrate this big win. But on the defensive side, Sean, we mentioned it earlier. People out there, Ed Oliver, you were like you were upset with that. You keep hearing that. And every time in our group chat, you're like, there he is again. There he is again. Are you guys finally going to stop? Not necessarily saying us, but, is Mafia fans going to start stop saying there's a problem with Ed Oliver. Where is he at? But whatever it is, whatever got into him this week, dude, he lit it up. So talk a little bit about Ed Oliver's performance today.
Yes. So, with me, I like the obscure, forgotten about positions like defensive line and offensive line. And it's no disrespect to anybody that watches football, but those are the positions where you kind of just lump them into a group and say, what are you going to do? But it's not like quarterback or running back or receiver where, it's all about really catching, running, and things like that. But obviously all of his numbers have gone down this year, but he's still been second in the team with hurries, pressures, and hits. And now he had a game where he had overtime pressures. He had a strip sack. He had a couple tackles. And I know everybody wants the stat sheet, but defensive tackles, they can have outstanding years like Aaron Donald and Quinnen Williams and Ed Oliver last year, but it's not a common occurrence. So they do it once or twice, and then everyone expects it all the time with those big flashy numbers, and it's not all about that. Because if the ends aren't doing their job and Daquan Jones isn't doing his job and the linebackers aren't filling properly, if it looks like it's just, everyone, and that's what it is, because they're not all doing their job cohesively, and people just want to blame one guy or whatever, just lump it into a big, they're all terrible. Last week they were all bad, but I still think Oliver's been doing his job all year. I think Jones is older and it's showing, and I wanted him to come back, but as like a backup role. But man, Oliver really, he's been hearing everybody say he's trash and took the money and turned bad, even though he got paid last year and was outstanding. Just really, really took over the game against a dominant offensive line. And that bull rush he had on that center, just put him on his ass in like a second. That's tough to do. And it was a big play. It turned into a sack. So yeah, outstanding. And I know Jorge saying, let's be honest, Bills allowed 40 points. Please don't talk about Ed Oliver. McDermott is a cancer on the team. Without Allen, the team is not in the playoffs. And, we kind of already talked about that. It wasn't a game where you're going to hold them to below 30 points, and they made a ton of stops, and the defense was probably a reason why we won the football game, because if it wasn't for the defense stopping them multiple times in the beginning, we wouldn't have been able to take a commanding lead. And, again, Ed Oliver, I'll talk about him every week because I do and other people might too, but you guys know, especially with me on the O-line, I do all the things that people don't want to do, watch every single play, watch each player on the line and see if they're doing their job correctly. People just look at a stat sheet and say, he's not doing this, he's not doing that. And today Ed was on the stat sheet and he did his job. So people can enjoy that one.
Yeah, just to respond a little bit more to Jorge. I mean, we knew this was going to be a high-scoring game, like Sean said, but the Bills kicked off first, right? They deferred to the second half, and getting that stop on the first series, I think it was 3 and out, right? Yeah, first series. Detroit has to punt. Buffalo scores right then and there. We're in control of that game, and now it's just a matter of if we just keep scoring, which we sort of did, we're going to win this game. And
Right.
there was a couple big stops. We stopped them 3 times. We forced them to punt 3 times. That's extremely hard to do against this Detroit Lion team. And we got a turnover, which again, we're one of the top teams
Yeah.
in turnover differential. Another big play. Now, of course, like I said early in the show, I was like, man, I wish this prevent. It felt like they were starting to give up some easy drives, quick drives. You don't want to see them scoring within a minute, 2 minutes. You do not want that to happen. So I'd like them to work on that. But again, what they did to get us that edge and get us rolling was incredible to
Yeah.
start the game. So
And,
I'm with you. I'm with you a little bit, Jorge, but I'm with not with you in some cases. And
yeah.
I think it was the most important part of it was getting a great start, and we did. That defense did.
And to be fair to his point, yeah, we mentioned it earlier that you don't want to give up 40 points,
No,
and but the thing is, we were missing 3 defensive backs, and I honestly thought the score was high, but if you watch the game, it was just a million times better than it was last week. You got pressure, you played good coverage. I mean, in the beginning, Goff was not doing good at all. He was not comfortable, couldn't complete passes. And this is one of the best. This is probably the best offense in the league. They have a great supporting cast. We're on the road. So I know the number is bad, but I mean, the Lions are a Super Bowl team too, right? So we could easily say the same thing about them. Oh, they gave up 48 points. It should have been 51 at home. So it just it happens. But we obviously I don't fully disagree. I just think it was a bounce back from last week. Obviously, you don't want to give up 40 points in playoff games because it's hard to score 40 points all the time. But yeah, I appreciate you.
yeah, definitely. All right. Again, yeah, I'm hoping he doesn't either. Right. When it's mattered the most, um, he's made some bad decisions in the past. We'll see. Yeah, thanks for joining us tonight. It's all about celebration and the defense. We can go down the numbers here real quick for the defensive side of the ball. Terrell Bernard, he had 10 leading tackler, 10 tackles. And let's see here, 1 tackle for loss. Taron Johnson was second with 8 tackles and 1 pass deflection. Christian Benford, Kyrie Elam, good to see him in there. Like we said earlier in the show, thought he did extremely well. I'm just been like, where has he been? And I finally, we started to get some conversation going when and Russell Douglas went out. People, I know some of the beat writers were like, where's Kyer? Why does he continue to be inactive? Thought he did really well today. Cam Lewis, I thought he did pretty good as well. He might have had sometimes Cam, I love Cam. Sometimes he doesn't wrap up. He just wants to just hit you and think he can knock you down. And that always isn't the case. He's not the biggest safety out there. Rousseau, I thought played well. He had a sack. We got to Goff 3 times. 3 times we sacked him, and they have a stellar offensive line. If not, I think Sean said they have the best. But I'll tell you what, close on our heels is the Buffalo Bills offense, especially after this performance. Let's see here. I don't go through all of them, but real quick, Sean, why was Balin Spector coming in over Dorian Williams when Milano went out?
I don't know. It was interesting because Dorian Williams has 100 tackles, so you think he would be the first guy in. I don't know. Maybe they were just trying to get Balin. He hasn't played in a long time. Maybe they were just trying to throw him in there. Maybe they thought, in case they were running the football, maybe they thought he'd be a better option. But still, I think Dorian Williams should definitely get playing time, even if Milano is healthy. And he got some playing time, made some good tackles, and we'll see going into next week. They might want to rest Milano just because you got the Patriots, Jets, and Patriots. So really, you can play around with whoever you want to give rest to. Because even with benching people, you should beat these guys without a problem. I know it's a division game. I know anything can happen, but you could be able to rest a guy like Milano for a week if you wanted to. And Spencer Brown, I don't know if they said a shoulder popped out. It sounded like Romo was talking about a shoulder popped out. I don't know. If a shoulder did pop out, give him a couple weeks off, and you're fine because you got Vandermark to sub in against 2 bad teams. But yeah, this is a great position to be in. You beat the number 1 team in the AFC, the number 1 team in the NFC, gave them their first loss and their second loss. And, people can say anything they want. You lost to the Ravens, you lost to the Texans. I'd rather beat the Lions and the Chiefs than beat the Texans. So it was pretty outstanding.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see here. Yes, real quick. Yes, I heard on the broadcast. I don't know. I know Chad Chiefs in here, big Chiefs fan. Weston, don't see you yet, but I don't know. I heard he got hurt late in that game. Didn't come back in for the last 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you guys have heard more more news out there, Chad. But again, they had four interceptions today against Winston, and I think they pulled Winston. I'm not sure, but I think I saw another quarterback come in.
They had 3 on Winston and 1 on the
Oh, okay, yeah.
other guy at the end. But yeah, hopefully Mahomes is okay. I'm sure he will be. He's a tough guy. He played on hurt angles before. But you guys are in a good position to even, because you got those couple games in a short period of time. If you even wanted to rest him for one of them, because you still have a 2-game lead over us technically. So if you wanted to give him 1 week off and then play that Saturday game instead of Wednesday, that's something you guys can play around with, because you guys have a comfortable, at least a 1-game cushion. So hopefully he's all right.
Yeah, him and Josh Allen, man, they're two of the toughest quarterbacks you're going to see. They are not coming out of the game. And like you said, Jorge, yeah, he didn't need to come back in. They were up by 2 scores, I believe. So why bring him back in, right? There was no need to. But yeah, defense, Chad, they always find a way. Team finds a way. So anyhow, I want to get to, again, the defense. The prevent, not so good. I don't know what I'd grade him right now, because like you said, Jorge giving up 42 points, but again, it was mostly prevent, really bad prevent. So we got to get that fixed, because if we're getting off to 3 scores, we were up. What was our biggest lead? Was it 21 points? 35-21. So we're up 14, 17. 17 was our biggest lead. You're getting up that much, and it's late in the game. You can't be letting them go down the field and score quickly. But otherwise, all good. So let's get through the heroes and the zeros. Not going to be many heroes and zeros when you beat a team like Detroit, who many considered the best in the league. It's a big statement game for the Bills. This shows me that the Bills can go toe to toe with the best teams in the league. And don't forget. We were also without our 2 starting safeties and our starting cornerback, Russell Douglas. That's huge. The guy stepped in. I feel like they were starting to figure things out later in the game. That's probably why Detroit was able to move the ball so well. They finally figured out how to we better take advantage of these safeties. And of course, when they did it at certain times. But just remember that. It's another reason why we weren't at our top. We were out with some big players in secondary. They were as well. I thought they got some guys back. Then he had some more injuries, so not sure where they came out as far as the Detroit Lions. I know they had some big injuries hit them as well this game. But anyhow, let's get to the heroes and zeros of this game. And Brett, we'll start with you. You get to give me 1 hero and 1 zero.
Well, I'm gonna take away the hero of Josh Allen. So let's end it there. But for me, I mean, I'll start with a 0 because I like to end it on a good note. My 0 is Tyler Bass. That miss was a easy make that he should have had, and that's just, I mean, that's something that shouldn't happen. You can't miss a 24-yard kick. That's just ridiculous. My hero, I mean, who else can you say on offense besides Ty Johnson? To come into there and have over 100 yards for a guy that's, been on the practice squad for the Buffalo Bills and worked his way up to go against his former team and put up some great numbers and help the Bills secure some much-needed first downs in those plays. That's incredible. So I'm going to give it to Ty Johnson, but definitely one other 0 that I would say is Matthew Smiley. I just feel like the way that his special teams unit has been this past couple of years, he's somebody that I'm starting to lose trust in. But I got to end it with Ty Johnson, though. I think he played incredible.
Yeah, Sally, I was not surprised he missed it. Yeah, definitely. Let's see here. All right. Looks like we got a Lions fan coming into the chat, and appreciate you. Played a Lions team that defense is deeply injured. Bills wasn't having that kind of game against a healthy Lions team. So congrats, you beat a team that was ripped apart with injury. You might have just missed that. We'll take it any day of the week. If that's the case, got to win those games. But don't forget, the Bills were without both their starting safeties and one of their starting corners. So we were kind of beat up in the on the defensive side of the ball as well. You tell me, if you were to tell me we're not going to have our 2 starting safeties we're going to miss a starting corner and we're going to win this game, I'd have said, I don't like our chances, but they did it. So yes.
Also, still they won 11 football games in a row. They still have a top 5 defense as far as scoring and other metrics. So I don't see why why didn't any other team beat them in that 11 game span when they were missing people? If it was the first game where they were missing 15 people, that's one thing, but they had their entire defensive line back. Sure, they got injured later on, but you still had your whole offense. Your whole starting offense was there, and a battered Bills defense stopped you guys. So, again, good luck the rest of the way, and it was nice to beat those Cubs.
I will say this, Lions bad guy. What I can't even say the whole name. Lions bad guy fan John New York. Listen, I hope it's Bills. I hope this was a sneak preview. I would love to see these 2 teams in the Super Bowl. Never won a Super Bowl, either of these teams. I'm for it. I want it. I want to see it. And I think a lot of America would love to see it, except for Chiefs fans. That's the only fan base that wouldn't want to see it. But
it was a bowl game for the Bills in Detroit. I mean, they're known as the Rust Bowl. So.
Yep. Yeah, shortest miss in the NFL. So that was your 0. I loved your hero, Ty Johnson. It just felt like that surprised him. Joe Brady dialed that up, and not sure what he saw under defense, but every time they threw the ball to Ty Johnson, it felt like he was wide open. So it was great scheming and great execution, of course. But Sean, your hero, your 0 for this game.
Yeah. Well, obviously we can't say Josh Allen. It's too easy, but we'll say it for Jake because I know Jake's not here. So Josh Allen, and I agree with Big Al. He definitely secured his MVP, beat the 2 top teams. He's at 37 total touchdowns right now, and what will be 5 years in a row with 40+ touchdowns. And so that was for Jake. And defensively, Ed Oliver, obviously he balled the heck out, and offensively, I give it to the O-line again, like I always do. Dominated the O-line. And there was a Lions YouTuber I don't usually frequent who he's on the Roundtable Sports Network, and he was trying to do a debate with Dan Mitchell. And his biggest thing was the Bills' biggest weakness is their offensive line. And I immediately was like, he's a good creator, but he doesn't watch the Bills because that's our biggest strength is the O-line. And that's a fantastic football team, even being injured. Obviously, they won 11 football games in a row for a reason. So it was awesome to do that, and offensive line did an amazing job. And hopefully see them again in the Super Bowl, because 2 teams that deserve to be in it. This is the Lions and Bills. So
yeah. I'm gonna give my hero to James Cook. I mean, the dude was running, and they grabbed his hair. I'm like, oh my god, I hope that hair rips apart or rips off. And my wife's like, can they do that? And I'm like, yes, honey, it's part of his equipment. Like, if you're gonna have hair out, they can grab it, and it's not a penalty whatsoever. I said, imagine they're trying to grab. If he doesn't have his hair, you're trying to grab the jersey. That's legal. But if you got hair there, you're gonna have to grab the hair. But he makes again, the O-line was very dominant, and that run by him was fantastic. And again, he had a nice catch early in the game as well when Josh Allen had to roll out. He found. How cool is it that we have 3 really good running? I mean, they run the ball extremely well, but they're all good receivers, all 3 of them. Ray Davis, James Cook, Ty Johnson. It's incredible. I mean, absolutely. I mean, I don't think anyone expected that. Heck, I don't think anyone expected the Bills to have this type of firepower. Firepower, guys. We're putting up 42, 48, and earlier in the season, we didn't have our, everyone's saying, man, who are they throwing the ball? They have a bunch of no-names. Well, this no-name team has come together. That one, everybody eats, has been true the whole season. There's nobody really dominating the targets. Whoever is open is getting the ball. Khalil Shakir seems to be the main guy, but they're all getting targets, which is fantastic. But to put 42 and 48 guys, come on now. And to be, I mean, I don't know if this will take us. We'll probably still be the number 2. I mean, these were the 1 and 2 team offensive teams scoring wise. Detroit was number 1, Bills right behind them. and it's gonna stay the same after this game for sure. But let's see here. So that was my hero, James Cook, and I guess I'll stick with you on the Bass thing to miss a field goal that early or that close, especially in that game. You need every point. You're going to need every point to beat a team like this.
Yeah.
They had a missed field goal as well, but that was pretty long kick for the
52,
kid.
yeah.
52 yarders, no gimme, but what was ours? A 24 yarder, something like that. Shortest kick missed.
24. Yeah, that's shorter than an
crazy.
extra point. That's basically like even shorter than high school extra points that I used to kick. I do got to add a couple more though, Mike. I got to put you on the zero list because you said 35 minutes and you're over your time. You're in overtime by 10 minutes, so got to knock you for that. You're a good guy. You work hard, but 10 minutes overtime, got to knock you. And then on 3rd and 1, instead of running a tush push, guaranteed touchdown, we tried going in shotgun and doing like I'm assuming they were going to do a quarterback sweep because it was empty backfield and they had overload to the left. And then you false start, and then you get out of it, and then you miss the field goal. So should have really been 6 touchdowns again for Josh because that one got called back and for a non-holding, and then that should have been a tush push touchdown, but it wasn't, and Bass missed it. So I don't know why we weren't lined up in the tush push because it was just guaranteed. But other than that, Brady had an outstanding day. So that guy had Mike and Brady on there for that one play.
Yeah, gotcha. I'll take my zero.
Mike gets a hero for always doing my editing for my film breakdown, so he makes up for it.
That may stop after you giving me a zero. I mean, that might stop. I might not be available to do that the rest of the season. Just kidding.
I'll give you a hero.
Anyhow, listen up. That's going to be it. Make sure you join us. Let's see, next Friday, the 20th. We're going to have our holiday spectacular. It's a fun thing Nickel City Mafia does. It's fun, family. Have your kids come on. We'll have some giveaways. We'll have some trivia. We'll have some special guests. And it's just a fun night. You like watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Is that a staple in your family's? Got to watch that every year. Check out Nickel City Mafia. We love to have a good time. Christmas is our favorite. So join us then. I think we're going to go live at around 8 p.m. and that's Eastern. We're not going to go too late, so we're going to go 5 p.m. Pacific time and 8 p.m. Eastern. So join us then. Going to be a lot of fun, and everyone, we'll see you soon. Go enjoy the Bills' victory. Go out, celebrate, get some pizza, some wings, whatever your favorite food is. We'll see you next time on Nickel City Mafia. Go Bills.